Hey guys, my name is Simpzy. How you all doing? Welcome to the start of a brand new campaign series here today on the channel. We're back on Total War Warhammer 2. We're playing as the dwarfs here today as Thorgrim Grudgebearer on Mortal Empires. So, if you like the sound of that, feel free to leave the video a like, subscribe if you're new around here with notifications on. Let me know in the comments feedback and suggestions for the series and where you'd like me to expand and conquer. I was craving playing as the dwarves in a game. Basically, I thought it was a bit of a toss-up between playing as the dwarves on Divide and Conquer, but I felt like Warhammer 2 had the better dwarves experience. So we're going to be doing 100 turns, short victory conditions. We're going to be trying to confederate with Grombrindle, Belegar Iron Hammer, Ungrim Iron Fist. We are using the Dwarfs Expanded Roster mod, unique building icons, and the faster end turn time. We also are using custom banners as well. You can find all those mods quite easily on the Steam Workshop. Very hard, of course. And here are some of the unique units as well. I put them on screen that we can currently get in this mod. You can even get like a dwarf brewhouse. So this isn't Steel and Faith, of course, but it's sort of my own mesh of submods because I didn't know if this expanded dwarfs roster was going to be compatible. But I'll play the intro coming in a second and we'll get stuck into the dwarfs campaign. First time me playing them in Warhammer 2. I did play them way back in Warhammer 1, but I thought we'd get stuck into them.
Karaz Ankor is secure, my Lord High King. Faced with your terrible wrath, the greenskins rout, as is typical of their craven nature. The bloody spears still infest the mountains to the east, setting up their hovels amidst your sacred pillars. Another grudge that must be put right, and soon, for the lords of the other dwarfholds will not tolerate a High King that cannot secure his own realms. To the south, yet more vicious Urki and Groby lay ready to strike at your kin. Seek allies amongst your own folk, for there are many grudges to settle here. The world shall be enthralled to the Karaz Ankor once more, and no creature, greenskin or otherwise, shall stand in your way.
Okay guys, welcome to the campaign map. Let's get stuck in right into it. We start off with Karaz Ankor, and we're at war with the Bloody Spears. We have Thorgrim Grudgebearer here. So the main objective of this series is to unite the dwarf holdings and hit our short victory conditions. We do have access to an expanded dwarven roster, similar to that and lore-wise of the tabletop. We've got RUNE Guardians, Death Rollers, a Brewhouse, and RUNE QUARRELLERs as well. Because even though, like, the Warhammer 1 factions are probably one of the weakest in Mortal Empires. So we start off with 7 units. 2 Quarrellers, 1 Catapult, and just 3 units of dwarves there. So let's have a look at what we're working with. Public order and growth is always quite good, but maybe just getting a small economic buff there is probably the play. I want to do more Warhammer 2 on the channel, especially with the new Warhammer 2 DLC coming out in the next coming weeks and months. I don't know exactly. I don't even know what it's going to be on, but I thought we'd play this and have some preparation on the lead up. So with this extended roster, so we do get a lot of unique units, which is quite cool. I'm curious to see how they play out on the campaign map. Okay, so this is the first time playing as the dwarves in quite some time. Yeah, so we want to try and get those RUNE Guardians as quickly as possible. They're kind of equivalent to trolls, which is quite cool, because they do lack big, larger entity units, the dwarfs. So we've got the Forge here as well, and the Book of Grudges. So I really do like the resource system which they've managed to rework. So basically you can get armor, weapons and stuff we can break down. So trespassing grudge, so we need to follow the grudges as well where we can. We don't want them to pile up too much, but they can get annoying. We're going to be doing a short campaign, and I'm going to try and do hour-long daily episodes of this series and try and wrap it up within 4-5 parts or so. And we do need allies and stuff as well. So we've got a lot of yeah, sort of dwarves in and around us as well. We've got Ungrim, the Greybeards there, Zulfbar and Barakvar. But the main enemy we're going to be focusing on firstly is the Bloody Spears and the Greenskins, and then Skaven further to the south. Okay, so we're currently going to get a nice non-aggression pack here with Zulfbar. We could eventually get a military alliance, even a confederation with them as well. I don't want to be moving into Vampiric or Empire territory just yet, but we'll try and start off with getting as many military alliances with the human factions as we can, which will inevitably piss off the vampire counts, but that's alright. So we'll try and get a military axis and defensive pact with Reichlin, with Karl Franz. There are tech stuff that we can go there as well. Maybe getting some non-aggressions with conflicting greenskin tribes is probably the play. So to the south we have Grim, Gore and his Ard boys, of course. We have Wurzag and the Prophet, and we've even got some Skaven as well, which is probably going to be our biggest adversary as we push down towards the desolation of Nagash. So we are at war with a couple of green-skinned tribes. We want to try and make us peace with as many of them as we can, but it's probably not going to happen too much. We are actually already at war with the Bloody Hands with Wurzag. So pushing down, securing our territory, securing the mountain passes is probably the play. Alright, let's move out and try and win this first fight. Now, does the garrison get drawn in the Pillars of Grundy? Grungri. G-I. Grungri. Okay, so they got Black Orcs there, so probably the main thing we have to worry about that. A clear-cut order resolve normally, but we're going to fight this one on the field. Okay. Grudge throwers is what we're desperately going to need. So I think early on, getting a lot of quarrellers is still probably the play, and getting better quality infantry. So we've got the Battle of the Pillars of Grunni. These dwarvish names, especially coming from wrapping up my Numenorian Let's Play. I am getting a little bit tongue-tied and Gashrak. Let's get stuck into them. Okay, so this is what we start off with. So the battlefield-wise looks very hilly. Trying to take the high ground is probably the play. Yeah, because we want to try and get a nice, clean line of sight shot. So we'll move our quarrellers in the second line, and we'll move the miners there. Thorgrim Grudgebearer is, in my opinion, the best dwarf legendary lord. The dude's an absolute tank, so we're going to be able to move him up. But here are our dwarf catapults. Sitting back. Grudge throwers. Quarrellers. And then our hammerers there in the front line. I really do like the Warhammer 2 Dwarfs aesthetic. It's like so hard to beat. Especially, I wanted to do a dwarfs/dwarves campaign on Total War. I was sort of umming and ahhing between doing a Divide and Conquer one, but I made the decision to play as the Warhammer 2 Dwarves. So if you want to see more Warhammer content on the channel, support it, and I'll do more. I do plan to confederate with Belagar, Ironhammer, Ungrim, and Grombrindle, as I do have all the available Dwarfs DLC. But the Bloody Spears are going to be our main adversary, as they do start off with 2 or 3 or so territory in and around our mountainous home. So we're attacking them. As we do have skirmisher and artillery supremacy, they're going to have to close the distance against us, and we'll allow our grudge thrower catapults to try and hit them. Early on, it's not a bad strategy, like army build, 5-6 quarrellers, 4 or 5 grudge throwers, and then just various infantry. I prefer, I actually don't really like the hammerers overly too much, but with this expanded roster, we are going to be able to compete with Skaven and some of the higher tier factions in and around us, because the Warhammer 2 factions overall comparatively are just so much stronger than their Warhammer 1 counterparts. And we've got Queek, and I don't think Clan Eshin we're going to deal with. They might be just a little bit too far away, but you never know. Skaven are super annoying, especially on very hard, so we'll try and do our best. We'll move up Thorgrim in a moment to try and tank. They do have some archers, but we do have supremacy. They maybe have numerical. We definitely have the damage. So we'll try and get my catapults to focus on those orc biggins. We are playing on the new green skin update, so green skins are, they're notably better in battle. So they're starting to hit Thorgrim here, so we're just going to try and waste as much ammunition as we can. Thorgrim's going to be able to tank it mostly. Second best, I don't know, probably Belagar or Grombrindle. Probably Grombrindle more than anything. I think Ungrim is probably the fourth and worst legendary lord for the dwarves. I'm not particularly going to be using Slayers overly too much. So, two lots of their infantry are going to clump around Thorgrim, which is fine, and we're going to allow our two Quarrellers and catapults to focus on that if they're going to just hit us and hit us from behind. They are moving up with their orc boys here, so we want to try and close the distance with our miners, and we'll try and engage their lord as well. We've got the high ground here, and we should be able to get a really nice charge off here. The famous Grudge, the Greenskins versus the Dowie once more. And the units that blobbed in and around Thorgrim have been clearly dispatched by our Quarrellers and our catapults. So this battle, first up, is usually quite easy to win against the Bloody Spears, but the problem is, like, this first battle is easy, but the problem is in and around the Bloody Spears territory, you can sometimes overextend slightly. So their two units are routing here now. Thorgrim can sit there just fine, just even tanking that. He does replenish quite quickly. So we'll try and get my catapults to hit them. We'll move my Quarrellers around. We'll allow our hammerers to hit their lord from behind. And although they routed there, we need to focus on them. Sweet. I'm also curious to see how the Greenskins are going to react in this brand new update. Oh, there we go. Yeah, because usually they don't have that buff once they lose too many casualties. Like, you never know, he could actually faction up with Grom the Paunch. Yeah, I'm curious to see how the dwarves perform now in Mortal Empires on Total War Warhammer 2. We've also got, like, some other factions on the periphery in and around us, such as Imric of Calador as well. He starts off fighting dwarves, so we probably will have some negative bonuses with him if we ever encounter him down in the South Badlands. If you haven't gone and checked out my Imric video, I do recommend it. I did a full campaign in one video, which was a lot of fun. I was thinking of similarly doing for this, but I'm going to do hour-long episodical content. I only plan to do about 4 or 5 videos of this dwarf series, so I should be able to wrap it up. The short victory condition, that is. But we've got a lot of stuff to look forward to. Uniting the empire of the dwarfs, destroying the various green skin tied to the south, being Grimgor, Wurzag, and I'm sure the thing is, I want you to defeat them. There's a bit of a power struggle between dwarves and Skaven as well. The Ratmen always have a way of sort of scouring up, I guess, because we've got Quake. Quake is really, really good, especially on this difficulty in Warhammer 2. Okay, looking at the casualties sustained and inflicted, we only lost 90, while we killed 350 of theirs. Catapults did fantastic. The grudge throwers usually do 151, Quarrellers 60 and 30. Our hammerers actually performed worse than the miners. Thorgrim in his unit got 26. The dude's an absolute tank. He's a really great defender, and we really can throw him in. He's not like the best duelist, however, he can really tank and hold down multiple units, which is fantastic. So the Banner of Swiftness we've managed to get, and I didn't try to kill the enemy lord. We allowed him to escape so we can grind that XP up. But I want Thorgrim to be, just give like army-wide buffs. Okay, so we've got some unassigned skills here with Thorgrim. Yeah, so basically how I want to go with him is make him very tough, buffy, and more beefy than anything. He's already sitting in his throne or big old wheelchair that he does. Yeah, so I'll put in the description below the mods I'm using. So for now, we'll go with Root Marcher, just to be able to move him around the mountains quickly. So we'll try and hit the army outside. And, okay, so it's actually going to draw out the garrison as well. Banner of Swiftness, plus 18. We'll give that to Thorgrim, because he's probably the quicker moving unit of that. And we'll auto-resolve this one out. We did lose a unit of miners, though. So also, it's a really good tip with that first battle as well. If you do let them run away, you do get to fight 2 battles, first of all. And you can draw out the garrison there as well. I don't think it's big. Yeah, it's not actually like a full-on garrison, but you can still draw it out quite quickly. Okay, so raise or sack. So you want to try and secure the Silver Road as quickly as possible. You can overextend yourself a little bit going for Mount Squighorn, but you just need to keep an eye on that. So we'll try and break that down, and we'll make that a bit better. Lightning Strike is always quite good to go for, so we want to try and go down this way. The quicker you can get that Lightning Strike in Warhammer 2, if you're not aware, is essentially Night Fighter in Medieval 2. So we've got Miners, we've got Dwarf Warriors. I actually prefer Dwarf Warriors than Hammerers. Miners, especially in the early game, are quite effective if you can bring out a lot of Quarrellers. So for now, we'll start off with, I want more Quarrellers. We'll just go with 2 Dwarf Warriors there. And we'll try and fix this up a bit. Building Browser, I am using the Building Browser mod as well, so you guys can see the full expanded roster on various stuff. But it's going to be a little while before we get access to the Rune Guard and whatnot. So let's go with 3 Dwarf Warriors there. As the green skins, pretty strong early on, especially the Bloody Spears. They actually have 2 territories further north as well. We are using a flag mod just to make things look a little bit nicer. Yeah, I didn't want to risk Steel and Faith not working with this expanded dwarf roster. That's what I usually play, unless I get Warhammer 2 early access and stuff. I do play vanilla then with Altharian and Grom and Imric and whatnot. Are we going to get intercepted during the turn phase? Nah. But that's been demolished though. Okay. So, I guess we can have a look at the forge here now. We do have some Oath Gold. We could spend a little bit of it. We've only got 30. Further down, you get some really nice buffs against elves and stuff. I don't think we're going to be fighting them anytime soon. And unfortunately, we didn't get any weapons that we can recycle variously. So, Armor, Talismans, Enchanted. Is there anything that I really like the look of here that we could forge? Getting that speed from the Ranger ring is probably not too bad. Miner's Latin. Vanguard deployment. I'm going to go with Veteran's Armor. I'm going to give that to Thorgrim, as he already has a speed buff banner on him. So getting -10 is going to negate that with the banner. And we can get a 25% armor buff on Thorgrim pretty early on, which is quite good. It's 1/4 of his total health on top of that. So we're going to push to Mount Squighorn now. 2 orcs and 3 goblins. So we'll just check a quick save. We should be able to finish that one off. And a clean-cut victory. Let's loot. Oh, it's just occupy. Loot and occupy probably gives us a little bit too much instability there, technically. And yeah, there just seems to be a lot of this type of buildings. Right. Okay, and we'll just bring in some more dwarf warriors where we can. And we do have a quest battle further to the north, which I can deal with. Yeah, so we want to continue to go down Route Marcher, go down the campaign effects, because we want to try and get Lightning Strike as quickly as possible. So then we can pick apart and hit units one by one. Commandment-wise, Empower the Guilds gives us growth. Untainted. Yeah, let's just go with the growth for now. We can eventually switch to Untainted. It just depends how the AI performs. Sometimes you can get let down with neighbouring factions. Sometimes the dwarfs in and around very rarely grow out of their mountain passes. They can either get smashed by the vampires or various other greenskin tribes. So sometimes you're very reliant on just how the AI reacts in a campaign, honestly. Okay, welcome to the top of the turn. 3 turns in now. We're going to push down to Death Pass. We are currently at war with the Red Fangs. And the Bloody River, they've actually expanded a little bit there. Karaz Ankor is pretty fine. We will try and get Grombrindle as well eventually, but we're going to get another army here. We're going to go with just a Lord rather than a Rune Lord. Yanni Gorimson. It's probably a little bit early to get a second army, but I think we'll be fine. Okay, so they used the underway, unfortunately, the Red Spears, so we're going to have to double back here. I wanted to push further south, but it looks like we're going to have to defend Mount Squighorn. We're only making 1,000 per turn, but we are going to be able to actually hit this Bloody Spears host quite well, and we should be able to destroy it as well. 4 trolls, 4 orcs rather, 4 goblins, 1 arch unit, and spiders as well. So let's chuck a quick save. So Yanni's going to have to hold on well here. Yeah, normally you don't really need 2 armies early on because you get that supply line stuff, but we are going to be conquering and being quite aggressive early on, so it is worth it. The Red Fangs, Gore Fangs. So we're going to be fighting in the underway here. We've managed to intercept them. My reinforcements are coming from behind, so we might just pull Yanni back here a couple hundred yards. There we go. His Aurora is quite big. So Yanni, the brave dwarf, standing off against 1,000 of the green skin tide. There he is. Yanni, soon to be the man, well, the dwarf, the myth, the legend, I guess. Let's have a look at the Red Fang, because, yeah, so there's their orc boss. Goblins and orcs further back. Yeah, because you do start at war with a fair few green skin tribes. They're their chariots there as well. We're probably going to have to watch out for. They're going to be probably the thing that's going to deal the most impact to us. So we'll fall back here. My reinforcements with Thorgrim are coming in. And this is our first underway battle, which is fantastic. I will try and use the underway where I can, because this is quite useful. The only problem is interception. It's more so with Skaven it becomes a problem. We can quite easily dispatch orcs with our heavier infantry. Our superior medium to heavy infantry. Okay. So let's form this up here. We are attacking them at the end of the day. For now they're not rushing us. But once the grudge thrower starts raining fire and death upon them, we should be right. We've also got the advantage of having 2 lords, 1 legendary. So we'll be able to move them up, and they're going to be able to disrupt a fair few of them. We might need to move up just a little bit closer to allow our grudge thrower to get in range. Focusing on the orcs. The orc boys is probably the play, rather than hitting goblin cannon fodder. We'll just see how they react. 9 times out of 10 they charge usually. Sometimes they don't, I guess. Okay, move that there, as we're more than likely going to be in catapult range. Yep, we are now. Let's move up Thorgrim and Yanni. They might have reformed their chariots, but we seem to be hitting them with relative impunity now. And they seem to be making a little bit of a move. One long line will be fine for this, as we just want to protect our flanks. Going into a checkerboard, triple axis formation isn't beneficial just yet. Yeah. They're slightly moving up. So we'll move our generals up to try and combat it. Yeah, move them up slightly there. We should be able to deal a decent amount of hit points before they even come up against us. I've only got 2 quarrelers now. I want to try and get some more as well. I remember in Warhammer 1, like the Quarreller Doom stack for the dwarves used to be so good. Gyrocopters never used to be that useful either. But this is my first time using the dwarf rework as well, resource-wise. So they're going to try and envelop around our flanks. So we want to try and at least buckle and break the center. That's probably the play. So try and focus on them. They might be able to wrap around from us. Our shot isn't obstructed either. So we'll try and focus and move that around a bit. Right. Try and bring and rout those orc boys there. Good. Let's reduce that. Yeah. So we are blobbing 4 or 5. Thorgrim with his additional armor buff now, and Yanni are going to hold that quite easily. While ideally, once we get more quarrelers in, we're going to be able to deal with that. Also, we have an expanded unit roster. Obviously, you get the unique units like the Rune Guard and stuff, but we actually get better quality quarrelers. We get Rune Quarrellers, which is quite cool. Okay, so they are starting to wrap around a bit. We should be able to deal with that. Okay, let's swing you around here if you're not fighting. They haven't been able to wrap around. Let's countercharge this. Yeah, fall up there, miners. Okay, we've managed to break a unit in the center. Continue to allow to get my quarrelers to hit there. It can be a little bit tricky navigating in and around the mountain passes of the Silver Road, and especially pushing slightly south. So we're going to have to be a little bit careful. But let me know in the comments, guys, Warhammer 2 connoisseurs, any tips and tricks you might have. As I do play a lot of Total Wars, but because I play so many, it's hard to be 100% proficient at one. There's always small 1%ers and stuff you do miss. Like even having like a break from a Total War for a couple of weeks, you just forget some of the sweaty mechanics that you can use and stuff. So let me know. I want to do more Warhammer 2 on the channel. It's one of my favourite Total Wars. And the campaign map and battles are so satisfying. Okay, so those orc boys are trying to wrap around. Let's try and hit them. We've managed to break their center quite well. Yeah, but they keep on throwing on that buff down, which is really quite good for the greenskins. They've done well. I'm quite impressed with the greenskins buff. I had a lot of fun with my Gron the Paunch campaign. But there's still a lot of factions I still haven't played with in Warhammer 2. Mostly vampire count stuffs, which is interesting because it's mostly the vampires. I guess because they're Warhammer 1. I think I've done Warhammer 2 campaigns than anything. Okay. So, even though the center's broken, on the far right and left hand side they still seem to be holding too much. They haven't been cycling or using their chariots overly too effectively. That's what I'd be doing. They are missile, but I'd be cycle charging and hammering him in as best as we could. So those orc boys are still holding there now. And we should have a decent victory against the Red Fangs. You start off with 4, you're at war with 4 factions, which can be a little bit tricky to navigate. Yeah. Victory, we're victory. So even with this new greenskin update and on Mortal Empires, which is like the constant buff Skaven get, I feel like this dwarf campaign gets harder and harder every single update. So we'll try and run down as many of the units as we can. And we'll try and leave their lord where we can. So a decisive victory. So we only lost 98. What a tremendous fight. The Red Fangs deployed 1.2k and lost 750. Unfortunately, we can't see all the casualties sustained and inflicted because Yanni came in, but he got 54. If Thorgrim was anything to judge the grudge, you could say. He's probably got a lot more. Yeah, their orc boys didn't do much. We were able to neutralize them quite quickly. The goblins that flanked and caught us did alright, but they've still got 517 remaining, and they've still got a fair few provinces to the south that we've had to deal with. But we've had 2 good, decent battles off the bat, and it's going to be a good blueprint. A good thing to build off from. Okay, let's go and run down the last of the Red Fangs, let's say. We're not going to be able to do that this turn because Yanni technically hit them, didn't he? Yeah, when he came from Karaz Ankor. Okay. Now we should be able to run them down. There we go. Let's just auto-resolve this one out with a clear-cut victory. Okay, so it looks like Gotrek and Felix have arrived. Okay, Gotrek's quite cool. I don't mind him. Like in the lore he's fun, but Felix is actually more viable in Warhammer 2. So I guess we'll swap out Yanni for now. I don't overly like them too much because they just disappear, that's the thing. Like, you're better off investing in a lord, really. But for now, just like role-playing wise, we'll bring in Gotrek and Felix. I quite like Gotrek. So we've got 2 armies now. We've got Thorgrim pushing down towards Karak Drom. We should be able to get rid of the bloody spears. It does look like Grimgor and his R-boys are mobilising there. So move Thorgrim in. And yeah, it's got some night runners there. We've got another banner here, +5 melee attack and base weapon damage. So yeah, I guess we'll give that to the armorers because we've already gone down the tactic of reducing his speed slightly for armor. And I can't be bothered changing that as well. Only 300, probably our biggest defeat in victory, our biggest loss in victory rather. But we're pushing down. We should be able to secure a Karak Zorn soon. Hopefully we don't get drawn in against Grimgor because he's got a couple of units there. We should be able to take the city here now though with yeah, Loot and Occupy. Okay, the Red Fangs are coming at us big time now. As what was I going to say? The Red Fangs got destroyed, so we'll bring in Gotrek and Felix now. Yeah, because so yeah, they've still got that territory just to the north as well. Okay, so now we've got another army here. Yeah, we'll bring in Felix. Forces cannot exchange. Thorgrim's going to push south to Barag. Barag. Okay. So you should be able to take that quite comfortably now.
Can I help you?
Our dwarvish allies seem to be expanding quite well here, but we might be able to go into the bloody river valley. And no reinforcements are going to help us out with this. We finally got lightning strike now, so that's going to massively help us out throughout our campaign. And now Thorgrim has a full stack of as well, mostly dwarf warriors. Hey, we've been attacked here. We're actually defending. We've got a battle with Gotrek and Felix. I'm going to chuck a quick save and we'll fight this one for the first time with them. Okay, so we've got mostly dwarf warriors. We have 6 units of quarrellers as well. I've brought Yanni into the army because he's going to be standing with us a lot longer because Gotrek is eventually going to go. The balance of power is about 50-50. It's going to be a good fight. So Gotrek, Felix and Yanni are going to fight this one. Hopefully they can pull out a result as they're pushing further north to Mount Gunbad. Okay, deployment-wise, Yanni's coming to our left. They're actually deploying behind us. Interesting. They've got 3 armies, which we have to watch out for, which will swarm us. But we've got 3 generals, and so do they. We might have to fall a defensive position up here, maybe. Okay, so we're going to corner camp for this one, as we're just going to get surrounded. This is not Thorgrim's first army as well. We only have 6 units of warriors, which will be fine in a defensive stance. We do have Gotrek and Felix coming in to help us out, but here is Gotrek. I'm coming! I'm blessed! He's slowly but surely coming over here. And we are defending at the end of the day. We have 6 units of quarrellers, so they should do just fine. Yeah. Look, we got the money. And we can fit Gotrek and Felix into our army, so look, if you overextend yourself, I probably wouldn't go for them, but they're not too bad. I quite like Felix as a lord, but I wouldn't allow Gotrek to be the main commander, because it's the thing is they just go for too long. If there was a reduction in the turn timer that they went away for, maybe it'd be better in better investment. So Thorgrim has a full stack down in the south now. He's pushing down towards the Badlands, while Yanni pushes north to deal with the last of the bloody spears. Because this is where you got to be careful, getting caught in the underway as you push north. So we got Helping Hand, which is quite good. And yeah, Yanni doesn't have anything just yet. So we'll allow Gotrek and Felix and Yanni to meet and intercept the bloody spears when they come in. We'll just go into a 3-pronged attack there. And we should be able to tie them down. Yeah, those goblin wolf riders we probably weren't going to be able to deal with because they're just going to wrap around us. But here are our dwarven warriors. And then we have our quarrellers just at the back. So they're going to start to pep in and engage these wolf warriors that are charging right for us. Run! Run, Gotrek, run! So we'll try and engage them there. Yeah, they were just going to wrap around and flank us because they've got a lot of high moving units. Gotrek should be able to do quite well there. We'll allow our quarrellers to try and target those wolf riders and bring them down. Yeah, just look how many of them that they have. There's another 3 on our right flank. 4 even. Just got to be careful. So allow our quarrellers to hit them. Fortunately for me, they haven't united up and went in one... hit us in one cohesive attack. They're slowly just pushing up and dealing with us. They do have some skirmishes there. This is going to be a tight one. Because they did only send just less than half, or just a little bit more than half a stack north. Fortunately not for me, we're not at war with Thorgrim just yet. Those quarrellers are moving up slightly, which we don't want. I don't mind you hitting the lords that are in the front. Yeah, it's just these wolf riders going back and forth. So we seem to be trading well, even knocking out a couple of units against the wolf riders, while the Bloody Spear's main host now comes in. Yeah, unfortunately enough for me, I guess Ungrim in the north, in Karak Kadrin, hasn't really been tempering them. Because you can overextend past Mount Squighorn, because you start at war with them. They have 2 territories in the south and 2 in the north. We actually defeated the Bloody Fangs before they did, so now we're actually engaging their main host. And we'll try and target them as they charge. Okay, so let's move them up here. So Gotrek and Felix seem to be holding quite well. allow my quarrelers to pick their targets. Hit those goblin archers there. Hit the orc boys primarily. Goblins are very much cannon fodder, so we want to try and avoid them. But we still seem to be maintaining and holding our defensive position. We'll try and go with Helping Hand on Yanni there. And we'll use our various buffs with Gotrek as well. Yeah, so for now, it doesn't really matter if Gotrek and Felix die. I'm more concerned about Yanni. But they aren't hitting our front line, which is the main thing. But the three brave heroes are holding out in the battle from that gunbad. Okay, so now they're starting to hit us here. And on the left-hand side as well. Yeah, I don't know how we would have dealt with those wolf riders. They would have wrapped around us big time. Maybe a sort of nearly a bit of a classic Rome 2 triple axis formation might have worked. But I think corner camping was the better of the play. Okay, now they've got their buff. And Gotrek is taking a little bit of heals here. Oh, but he's now routed. He's done well enough. We're really just going to have to allow our quarrels. Yeah, he's a melee specialist. Felix. Like, he's actually good because he's like a solo agent. But he's now routing. Yeah, those shots are coming in. Yanni seems to be the better of the two, maybe because he's just slightly higher ranked. But Gotrek seems to be doing well. He might come back in even though he's withdrawing Felix. And go into them. Okay. We're about halfway through our ammunition. We've only lost 300. And we're still maintaining a good position. No. So, unfortunately, Felix is fully routed. They keep getting these buffs, man. Ugh. The green skin buff is very hard to deal with. More or less their rework. Okay. Our warriors are still holding. But they're about half health. Okay, maybe go into that shaman. Maybe if we can snipe some of their generals, we might be able to turn the tide because they've got a war boss right in my army. We'll allow Yanni to go against the shaman. And then eventually Gotrek against the war boss, I guess. Continue to just try and target individually these skirmishes at the back because that's what's really putting the pressure on us now. They are breaking in some areas, but so are we wavering a little bit slightly as well. I think numerically we've got it on our side because we don't seem to be losing as much as our infantry as they are at the same rate. So we might have them there. Okay. We've got that shaman down to half health. We'll chuck Gotrek into the back of that. Yeah, I really do like Felix because he's an agent, but I'm surprised how quickly he sort of withdraw. Now speaking of withdrawing, the miners are now gone. There's a couple of guys sitting idly by here. We just need to flank. This is going to be a close one. This is going to be tooth and nail. It's going to be such fine margins for the dwarfs. And this is make or break. If we lose this full stack, we are going to maybe have to withdraw a bit. Because we're not going to be able to push north. I am fighting on two fronts against the bloody spears. I'm trying to push and expand further in the south. We just need to hold. A couple of quarrelers pushing back there. Yeah, focus on their archers. Oh, hang on. They might be able to get the army loss penalty. They seem to be flickering a lot, especially with their lords. Come on. Looks like we've broken that right-hand side with Gotrek. Fighting with fire and fury. Kills 5 lords in one swipe. We seem to be holding quite well on the right-hand side. It's just their archers further at the back. Victory! We have victory here today. That was a close one. Crikey, 5.5. They did outnumber us 2-1. And we kill 1.5 of them. The Quarrellers with the massive carriers. Yanni with a decent amount. They're bringing up more armies pushing into Mount Gumbad. Yeah, I thought getting rid of the bloody spears would have been easier said than done. Okay, so we can intercept this one. We'll do that. It was that army sitting outside. We'll just auto-resolve that one. With a clear victory. Up in the north. Okay, Thorgrim is currently in the south. We're going to try and do some negotiations. Grimgor only has 4 territories here. We do have some pacts with Zufbar and whatnot. I'm going to declare war upon Grimgor now, as we've done alright in the north against the Bloody Spears, and I want Thorgrim to open up another front. So we're going to be pushing to Iron Rock here. Dwarf warriors, a couple of miners, mostly quarrellers. We should be able to take the Iron Stronghold there, but not the most proficient army. Still tier 1, and then we'll push for the Black Crag, trying to secure Death Pass. Oh, and he's hanging out there. Okay, so an army actually pushed north to Mount Squighorn. Karag Dron managed to fall, which is unfortunate. We've got another army up here now. We'll occupy it back. Hey, Grimgor's actually attacked me with Thorgrim and Yanni. Yeah, okay. Let's fight this one against Grimgor. Yeah, so we've just declared war upon him. Yanni's rotated further south, and now we've been intercepted just outside Karagzorn. I guess he used the underway before leaving the Black Crag. So our reinforcements are slowly but surely pushing in. Yanni, after having a successful war in the north against the Bloody Spears, is rotated down to start an all-out offensive against the Ard Boys. So we're still using mostly Dwarf Warriors early on and Quarrellers. I don't want to go out and rush those cool and unique units just yet. We'll eventually get Rune Warriors and Rune Guard and a Brewhouse and a couple of others. So this is our first time fighting Grimgor and his Ard Boys. We'll just quickly rally up all my Quarrellers and infantry. We haven't got the most amount of replenishment, but Felix is still replenishing from that last fight. Although the hammer is a silver chevron, that's mostly due to auto resolve. I do quite like the warriors a bit more. Okay, so let's form everyone up here. The 6 strongest. Another 2 there on the flanks. And then another one's there as well. We'll just form up with another defensive formation, and we'll put the missiles in the second rank there. We'll eventually get some more grudge throwers as well. I quite like them. But for now, we only have the one. We'll move Thorgrim Grudgebearer up. Godric and Yanni can sit there as well. Okay, sweet as. And we'll wait for Grimgor to push up. He only has 4 territories. We're still pretty early on in the campaign. I thought he might have a little bit more, but maybe not. Our allied dwarfs around Zufbar and stuff are doing quite well. They do have some of their own launchers. We've got to watch out for them. Now this army doesn't have as many goblin wolf riders, thankfully. They were a little bit of a nuisance, particularly in that last fight. Yanni and Thorgrim moving into position, along with our dwarven companions. Yeah, so 4. 2 on the left, 2 on the right. Now we're going to fight in the open field, a little bit further back towards the map. But this is another sort of flashpoint battle. It's make or break. If we don't win this one here today, we could be pulled back into a bad position and have to waste a couple of turns. So Thorgrim's going to push out here. in hold, and we'll allow our quarrelers to do most of the work. They have wrapped around here on those miners. They should be able to hold. They've actually got some orc ball boys there, so they're going to be a little bit more pertinent than just the wolf riders. But we should be able to try and make quick work of them. Okay, so they're targeting Thorgrim here, so we'll try and move him around a little bit. He still has those armor debuff properties and slight movement speed. Okay, we'll try and target those guys that are pushing up against us. Yeah, they just keep on cycle charging us here. Just make sure you hit that, because you should have interlocked with them a bit better. We'll allow Thorgrim to countercharge this, the orc boys, and the same with both Yanni and Felix. Okay. The main thing with this dwarf build is we want to try and intercept, reduce hit points, and weaken anything before it hits our dwarf warriors. They can do alright in a defensive, protracted line, but the shorter we can avoid that, the better. Oh, those black orcs are pushing in there. That's what I do fear. Especially in the goblins army build. River trolls, stone trolls, and black orcs are the best. Particularly in the south and Wurzag's magic. So out of the tier of stuff in the Badlands that we're probably going to be facing, I would say High Elves, especially with Imric, is probably going to be more difficult if we ever fight him, and Skaven upmost. But at the moment, for this first part, we seem to be dealing with various green skin factions. We're facing mostly the Green Tide, which is understandable. Okay, so now they've got a buff. We've got to watch out for that. So Grimgor's a little bit of a different war boss, isn't he? So although in the last couple of battles they've been baited with... Oh, he's struggling there actually, Thorgrim against Grimgor. Yeah, send Gotrek over there to help. Sorry, not Gotrek, Felix. Send a helping hand. Help him! Help, help, help! Oh no. We are going to win, but Thorgrim's taking an absolute beating here against Grimgor. Felix now comes in to help. And this is a battle for the ages. Felix coming to help out the Dwarf King. They're really ganging up on him. I might have to withdraw him in a sec, if he can't hold out. Still throwing their Doom Dive catapults. They're always incredibly effective. I don't know, stats-wise. Aesthetically, you can't really beat the Doom Diver. But being able to control it... I'm trying to think of my Grom the Paunch. I think I still play with a lot of them. But you do get access to Grom's new units. Okay, yeah, so we're probably about to win this one. 75%. Yeah, Grimgor's gone down. That was really close. If we didn't catch that and didn't bring in Felix, we might not have won that. The war bosses there. Look at this, man. The Black Orcs are absolutely carving through my Dwarven front line there. And those Doom Divers as well. My right flank is broken. And same with 2 center corridors. We'll try and push up here. Get rid of them. Look at that, man. Those Black Orcs. They're really nearly not affected. We're going to have to flank around them. They might have even been gold chevron. Can't recommend Black Orcs enough. Playing as the Greenskins. They're one of the best infantry units for them. But their army is nearly in a full retreat. Come on. Hey, there we go. Decisive victory. 400. Yeah, it just shows the difference when you bring in a legendary lord like that. The Black Orcs perform the most for them, 120, and the Doom Divers as well. But a good victory against Grimgor. Okay, welcome to the top of the turn. We're 20 turns into the Let's Play, and we're going to try and run down Grimgor with Thorgrim Grudgebearer here, dealing our first legendary lord defeat and blow for our enemy. Okay, so they still have Mount Gunbat under their control. We struggled to take it. We had a couple of good fights, but we just had to pull back with Yanni. Now that we've just stopped Grimgor for a bit, we'll allow Thorgrim to come up here and help. There's a Skaven there. Okay, so I've skipped a little bit ahead. Thorgrim's pushed down to the Black Crag after helping Yanni's conquest. It's like, it got to the point where we were winning, but we just weren't conquering hardly any territory. So now we've doubled even further back down to the Black Crag, and we'll continue on our offensive there. Okay, so I'm currently negotiating here with Karakazul, and we're going to be able to confederate with them. So we've got that under our control now, which is fantastic.
My anger burns bright.
Okay. So, really, after throwing back Grimgor a fair few turns ago, they haven't really been able to recover. This is probably their last stand here. So I've rebuilt my armies a little bit. They are a little bit more proficient. Yanni actually has cannons and 2 grudge throwers now. And we could maybe... We'll auto-resolve this first one with Lightning Strike, just because it's such a good odds. Yanni has Lightning Strike now, he's rank 8. So that's one army gone. And then, I guess we'll fight with this second army here.
For the wisdom of VOLLEY.
With Cazador, Dragon Slayer. Yeah. Grimgor's in there. Again. Look how many goblins he's got. Well, let's deal the final nail in the coffin with him. And with our confederation with Dragon Slayer, we've gotten more siege equipment mostly. More artillery and catapults and stuff. Yeah, so we won't need Lightning Strike, we'll just get stuck in. Okay. So, with Yanni's army build now, we've got some cannons. We've got 2 grudge throwers. And there they are. We should be able to make quick work of the Yard Boys here. They only had, when we declared war upon them in today's episode at the start, only had 4 territories. They've been really pinned back, I think. Oh, they've got an army coming from behind. What? Okay. And then we've got more reinforcements coming from there. So this is really their last stand. We might be able to wrap them up here. So we got 4 units of Longbeards as well. In our build. We'll eventually phase out Dwarf Warriors for Longbeards. Unless they've got really high chevrons, of course. But most of my army build will make up of Quarrellers and Grudge Throwers, and then we'll eventually get some higher powered cannons and stuff as well. So we'll just make a defensive line here, nothing too crazy. Just for our reinforcements to rally up as well. We've got some cannons in support. And we'll just move you guys back here in front. There we go. Sweet as. Yeah, I would have liked to confederate with Zulfbar, but Karakazul wanted to do it first time around. Crikey. So they've got a Hag River Troll. Oh no, they're not. He looked super ugly. I thought it was one. Human. I am not a hag. Grimgor coming up to get dispatched for round 2. And I guess at this point, because Thorgrim already has his buff, I guess we can share it around for Yanni for defeating him as a legendary lord. So quickly just halt for now. My cannons should be able to arc their shot up over the top of my infantry for now. We've also got, man, we've got a really crazy machination of stuff here. We've got some bolt throwers coming in as well. So it's just much easier to pause, because I wish you could, like, I wish there was a setting just to group everyone up. Just to make it a bit easier. But with Dragon Slayer's army, we've got some Thunderers here. I don't mind Thunderers. I do quite like gunpowder units. They're so incredibly useful and crucial and effective playing as the Empire. But the slow-moving Thunderers can be a little bit of a hindrance. It just depends who you're fighting. To be fair, Thunderers trading with, like, Skaven is always not usually too bad of a play. Okay, so we've got 2 heroes coming in there. And we'll just try and form this up a little bit better. When it gets to commanding, like, well over 20 units, things can get a little bit tough. So we'll just go back to our holding formation. It just seems to be the best for now. Our hexagon formation, I guess. You could call it that. We don't have as many quarrelers in this, but we do have artillery variety and supremacy for all intents and purposes. So the bolt throwers are actually a sort of unique unit in this, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember in Warhammer 1 them. Because realistically, the dwarfs with their technical machinations should have a lot more crazy stuff, but yeah, tech-wise I guess it could go a little bit overpowered. It's good to see that the greenskins are finally using their shard buff, as it were. With some blue armor there. Our catapults are doing a decent amount of work on them. And our longbeards are preparing to hold. So, what's going to happen with a lot of these battles in this dwarf campaign is that we're going to be fighting a lot of defensive battles. Just due to our skirmisher and artillery supremacy. And especially when we're facing a... No, we haven't got there just yet. Facing a faction like the Greenskins, who's more infantry focused and monster focused. Those forest goblin warriors there. Just hold on for that. We'll be fine, because they do have a distinct lack. Well, what we've been coming up against, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. They've got a distinct lack of magic compared to someone like the Skaven, like those rattling guns and various bombardments they have. It's quite hard to deal with. So, first of all, if you can sort of sort out the first like 5-10 turns of this campaign, you can really steamroll. And not overextend where you can. But now from the last 20 to 40, we've been doing alright. So our miners have some grenades there they're going to hold up. So Grimgor's now pushing up to help. A little bit of friendly fire there. But we've already knocked out so many of them. Their buff got activated. So try and hit my core. Yeah, there we go. Well, we might be able to wrap around where we can. We have my gunners flanking on the right. They might be able to hit anything retreating. Yeah, go for Grimgor there. So here are the dwarf bolt throwers. If they're hitting anything, trying to retreat. And soon to be our thunderers on the left hand side. I'd like to get a shot off with this cannon here. If we can, we just need to arc our shot over the wall. Nah. Sometimes in Total War it's worth it. They're coming a little bit close there. Okay. But this should nearly be the end of Grimgor Ironhide. to be honest, we've had more of a difficulty against the orcs of Mount Screwcorn, the bloody spears. But overall, once we destroyed him first time around, he was never able to regain his strength, really. And now that we've got Lightning Strike with Yanni, we were able to take him on quite easily. Mostly a goblin horde that he commands now. Shame to see how far the goblin war boss fell, I guess. Okay, so on the right hand side, where there was more bolt throwers and slightly more artillery, I guess they're holding. Or we managed to beat them all along with the Thunderers there. But on the left hand side, they seem to be doing a lot better. Alright, let's try and wrap around now. And try and give chase. There was a lot more hairier fights we could have very lost in today's episode. The victory is only a matter of certainty. So guys, unfortunately on that note, I have to wind down the video here. Thank you very much for watching the first episode of my Total War Warhammer 2 Dwarfs campaign on Mortal Empires. We've had, what, 4-5 battles here today. We've had a hell of a first episode. And I've had a really fun and enjoyable session playing as the Dwarfs. Stay tuned for episode 2, another hour-long part. I'm going to try and do hour-long videos until I wrap up my short victory conditions. So we might do, what, 4-5 episodes once we hit our short victory condition, and then we'll move on to something else. They're actually hitting me here around the back I need to concentrate on. I thought she was all over Red Rover. Come on, quickly, just get the bolt throws in. I was getting distracted. But yeah, let me know feedback and suggestions, tips and tricks, and other Warhammer 2 campaigns you would like to see on the channel. And if you don't like Warhammer 2 for whatever reason, feel free to leave a dislike. If you're an hour through, I don't know why. I don't know how you could dislike Warhammer 2 if you're watching an hour through, but I guess. So we only lost just shy of 500. They deployed 2.5k, and we've managed to defeat them. Well, on that note, I'm going to play the outro now. Unfortunately, guys, it is time to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know in the comment section down below your feedback for the series. And if you'd like to see more, that's the best way to ensure more content. Leave a dislike if you're not enjoying the series. Check out my social media links if you want to stay connected with me. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all in the description below. Patreon and merchandise link in the description below, along with the Steam group. Come and join the community on Steam. And on that note, unfortunately, I have to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching once again. Make sure to take care of yourselves. Go out and have a fantastic rest of your day. My name has been Simpzy. Goodbye.